Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Circle of the World podcast, where we discuss Joe Abercrombie's First Law series. I am one of your hosts, Lord Chamberlain Jeffrey, and here are my co-hosts,
Archlector George,
and Harrison, the Adeptus Historical.
We continue our coverage of Red Country, Joe's third standalone, and the next First Law entry. And this week, we read through Greed, The Tally, and Going Back. So, let's get started. As usual, folks, you know we have to thank you for your support. I'm hungover, so trying my best here. We want to shout out anybody that's contributed to the podcast. Remember, we had that one artist that helped with the banner, I think it was.
all those years ago.
All those
we also
false calls years ago.
And your mate who did the Matty Music does the intro and the outro, which is
Still
just not get enough credit, you know.
And all the beautiful guest spots and all the Discord people who Jeff and I don't interact with enough because we are scum. And shout out to everybody who has a hangover because you know and Jeffrey are brothers and sisters in arms now.
You son of a bitch. Look at me, I'm Hamilton. I have a family. I'm married. Ooh, I'm busy. Fuck you.
I drank last night too, I'll have you know. I'm just not an idiot.
He's not an alcoholic like us, Jeff.
Look at me. I have self-control. Ooh. I had sent the boys something, by the way, a few days ago of this amazing, and I mean amazing, Twitter meme where they did the thing with the VP JD Vance. They did the thing where they made his face almost into a baby, and the whole hoopla, like people thought Trump was dying.
My fellow Americans,
my fellow Americans.
Fuck off, weapons.
They even ended up using that face on South Park as well, which is
they did. Whoever came up with that is a genius. A tragedy has struck our beloved president. Sorry, folks. I'm a little hungover. George, are you editing this or am I editing this?
You're editing this one, brother.
Oh, fuck. I don't even know if I'm going to leave that in or cut that out. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, we want to thank you all for your continued support. We do appreciate it. It's been, 2-3 years now at this point?
Mm-hmm. 3 years in June, guys?
3 years in June, it will be? Nice.
Would be. Have been.
Oh, have been. Have been? Goddamn.
Has been.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Our podcast listeners, we want to thank you for your support and your love.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, I'm a little delirious. I love it. So thank you very much. And we'll just move on to our next segment, which is our community interaction segment. That is basically... Well, we can't do the memeing every chapter anymore, right? I keep initially starting.
The memeing every chapter is gone. We are going to be doing guest spots at the end of this book, as usual. So if there's anybody out there who might be interested, we've got a couple of people that want to get involved, but we usually do 3. Mm-hmm. So if there's anybody out there that wants to get involved, do a little segment, then get in contact. You know where to contact us. It's circleoftheworldpodcast@gmail.com. We'll get you added to a Discord. If you don't want to do that, that's fine too. But
we typically let you guys pick a topic. If you have listened to our other guest spots, we try to let the guest spot kind of lead just to show another member in the community's perspective. So we always love doing that. It's a lot of fun to have the breakup for the session, but also more importantly, just to have the opinions shared. Because obviously, even though our opinions are not at all at fault and always correct, it's nice to hear some dissenting voices, no matter how wrong they are.
And we're totally not going to let the Archlector silence you all.
No one comes out of
maybe if I lose the recording again, like I did with that quiz that time. we had 5 people on, and it was a really, really fun time, and I lost the damn recording. So
yeah. Only one if there's a reason Tama Boy has disappeared many times.
Very true. So hit us up, folks, to hop on the guest spots. Like George said, we do 3. We have like a spot left or 2. But yeah, hit us up any way you want. We'll get you on. And so, with that, we will read through our first chapter, which is Greed. And folks, I am going to be fuming a lot during this read through. I hate it. Hate it. I just hate it. So we start off with the perspective of Ro, and Ro's a little ungrateful bitch. So, fucking Christ. A trifling hoe.
She's like, in her mind, she's like,
we
desecrated all of our homes and our temples and our.
It was never her home. It was never her home. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
My family was they laughed as they murdered everybody.
All it was a fucking longer than usual vacation. All right, that's all it was.
With brainwashing,
indoctrination, I don't give a fuck about the brain
and abuse.
I don't give a fuck about that. All right, they set off in a happy crowd, smiling, laughing, congratulating each other for their work, comparing the trophies of gold and flesh they had stolen from the dead. Good. Fuck these kidnappers. Fuck these kidnappers. Folks, it is not okay to kidnap kids. All right? It's in the word, kidnap. It's not kids taking a nap, it's kids getting napped. All right?
I think they have it. I think they've got it, Jeff. I still do feel bad for these descriptions about these people getting fucking cooked alive and herded off.
Oh yeah, that one was okay. Right,
that's still a little bit too far. These guys are still monsters. Okay, it's important to hold sight of that.
The mercenaries are the mercenaries are despicable people. Yes.
Well, what Rose says in her mind, she says she never thought she would meet somebody worse than Greg Countless, and now they were everywhere.
Everywhere she turned, which is wild. Yeah, that is wild.
And that's probably accurate. To be clear, Jeff means she means, lamb, kind of lamb. Temple and Shai saved them, with the intention of doing it, and as they always said they were going to do. And everybody else happens to be there. And Ro, as a child, is justifiably judging the whole crowd, not just the few individuals that did do some good.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
The mercenaries suck. Sure. Yeah. I'm on board with the mercenaries sucking. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Lamb did also try to kill Shai.
Hey, whoa.
I said kind of lamb. Kind of lamb.
We don't need to talk about that right now. All right? Not right now.
All right.
Casca is fun too because he's like, they're like just do, and he's like, so Sabian, did you find your boy? Sabian goes, nah. And Casca's like, oh, okay. Well, you got to keep looking for him. And he's like, nah. He's like,
told myself I'd go this far, no further.
He said, every man has his limit. No problem.
He slaps him on the arm, all friendly like, and then he puts his finger on the Rose chin. He's like, chin up, girl. Your hair's gonna grow back in no time.
I always love just how oblivious Casca is to like the real world. Like he's just the one thing that he sees in front of him is just that's it. That's all he understands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that kid must be upset because she's bald.
Casca would be the person to go and do it.
Not because she just witnessed butchery on levels never before seen.
Casca would be the guy who'd be like, he's like visiting someone in the hospital and he sees like, kid with kids. He'd be like, cheer up, it's not a big deal. He'd be like, no, Casca, please.
Let's talk about what they did to Ash Rank, right? They did leave it in ruins, the carvings all smashed, and the heartwood smoking, and the bronze panels gouged up, and the longhouse was burnt down with the blessed coals from its fire pit, all forever stained with death. They despoiled even the most sacred caves and tipped the dragon over so they could steal the coins that made its bed. And then they sealed the dragon in its cavern and brought down the bridge with the burning powder that made the very earth shake in horror at the heresy. So, obviously, I'll talk about this at the end of the chapter. And I like how at this point Casca goes, better to be safe. Like the dragon's gonna wake up like, you bitches. Ro obviously hates him, which all right, that I can get, whatever. I'm with that. Now these
everybody
guys,
gets a free pass where they hate Costco. It's like, yeah, that's understandable.
yeah, totally understandable. And they all have all the plunder and the money, the coins, the gold, all that stuff. And it got, as they're setting off and they're about to, head down towards the mountain and everything, the pace is initially pretty brisk, but they slow down because the weight of it all. I'm assuming they're carrying it in bags in their pockets. They're wearing chains and all this stuff, gold chains. Somebody had Acheron's pipe, and it's not the pipe that you smoke. It's like a flute, right, or whatever, like the musical instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And some guy snatched the pipe away and smashed it on a rock, and then they started fighting. And Ro notes that Shy was just can't stop talking, and she's like different than she used to be. She talks about how Ro hardly recognized her, like a woman she saw in a dream once, a nightmare. I'm already about to backslap this kid. She asked the 9 kids to tell them their names. Go ahead.
I really like this part a lot. This whole interaction here, like, yeah. So it's Shy. Like the way she describes Shy is so accurate to what Shy's been through. She's like a candle burned down to a nub. She's worn down. She's tired. She's like a the description is she's like a sister that she barely recognized from a nightmare. She saw in a dream once in a nightmare. And I like too how Shy keeps talking because that's what Shy does when she's nervous. She doesn't know how to interact with these children. Like she barely even recognizes Ro, and Ro barely even recognizes her. But they both are kind of like a little weird with each other, and I think that's portrayed so well in such a short period of time. And some of the kids told them their dragon names, some of them told them their old names. And she like went to Evan, who was Leaf's brother, and was like, "Yeah, Leaf your brother was with us, and we buried him in a good spot." But I have a feeling Evan did not give a fuck. Because judging what happens later. But it's just sad because whenever she's like talking to Ro over and over again, like, "I'm sorry we took so long. I was going to bring you a book, and she's like, "Can you just say something, please?" And Rose says, "I hate you," in the dragon people tongue. And that is so frustrating. But also, I will say, interestingly,
I would have booted her ass back in that fucking cave into the magma. Fuck this bitch.
It is like he's about to say, Harrison. It's interesting that Temple knows their language.
Yeah.
Even though they're supposed to be like this isolated people. Maybe it's like the old empire, like the old tongue.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of what it's implied. Or maybe some other old language that he knows. Maybe some kind of old, who knows? There could be any number of things. But it's interesting he does know Temple. Like, I like how Temple's language use is like a skill that's brought up a couple times and how it's always useful. I love that a lot. Mm-hmm. But his reaction to her, he hears her say that, and he's like, "Well, your sister came a long way, for months. That's all she wanted." To try to reinforce that, and Rose says, "I have no sister. Tell her that." And Temple, I fucking love this line. This is the most dad line ever. He's like, "You tell her that." He's like, "That you won't," because, and that's the thing. I think that's very key here is that I know Jeffrey Rose being,
stupid
obstinate. To a degree. Obstinate, yes, perfect. But we have to remember that, like, she made that decision, but she's Shy. She doesn't seem the same as she was. In her mind, I know, her whole mind, she went through trauma twice, and most of it was from people she loved, or she used to love, killing people that she then just got used to loving. And so she's all fucked up in the head. But you know that she does still care for Shy, at least Shy in particular, is because she doesn't tell her that she hates her. She said it for herself, "I hate you," to get it out of her system, but she does not have the will to tell her she hates her to her face. Not in a way she'd understand. And I like that. But then she goes on to like point out Lamb, the Northman, the devil standing above her with a bloody smile. She's traumatized as fuck from Lamb. Yeah, and that
I find it interesting because obviously, like, Shai has witnessed Lamb slowly turn from the person that she knew him as into this person, and this has been a sort of slow transition. But for Ro, it was literally like
It's pretty
last time
sudden.
I saw him, it was like this like sweet old man, and now he's a monster. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I like how she's like the Northman who looked like Lamb but wasn't. Like, she doesn't hate Lamb. She just doesn't realize. I don't think she genuinely realizes they're the same person at this point. She's just like, this guy looks like Lamb. And it's like, but there's no way. It's impossible. Because they still have fond memories of Lamb. And it's just, God, it's tragic as fuck.
Yeah, and then at that point, his face that was cut, it started bleeding again, and Savian went to like stitch it again, and he goes, and Savian says, they hardly seemed like demons, these dragon folk, and Lamb goes, the real demons you bring with you. It's like, oh Jesus, he's getting real self-hatey right now.
As he should.
Yeah, sure. But these bitches did take his kids. All right.
No, he's self-hating because he almost killed Ro and Shai without any remorse.
Well, we'll gloss right over that. So, listen, sometimes you do what you got to do. All right, that's it. Now, as they're out George's face. Look, I'm not excusing attempted murder, all right? I'm just saying he was in a certain state. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
That's the same terminology people use when they're drunk and like you do something stupid.
Well, yeah.
It wasn't
all right, anyway. His judgment was inhibited. And then Ro, as she's laying in the darkness, when they're taking their breaks, they're sleeping and stuff, she can hear her facts screaming as they burned her on the cooking slab, which is wild. And the air sweet with the smell of meat, like Jesus Christ. As she could she could see Olstall's face, sad and dignified as they push him off the cliff. Bodies left broken. Good people she had laughed with, each with their own wisdom, made useless meat, and she could not understand the waste of it.
I know this is what we say about Joe. I know that you, and it is completely right that the dragon people are, they do kidnap kids. They do that.
They kidnap kids.
But it did seem like they had a good thing going up there for a while. Like they were well fed.
They had a good thing going. Prior to that, Ro and Pitt were fine on the farm. They weren't abused. Goalie was chill. They were being watched. I don't want to hear this. I do not want to hear this.
But again, it's always gray, isn't it? There isn't just like one.
No. This is black and white. This is binary.
All right, let me chime in. All right, I'm jumping in.
I swear to God, I don't give a fuck if you outnumber me. This is wrong. No, fuck.
Listen, Jeffrey.
Right.
So there is the Ro absolutely has Stockholm syndrome. Okay, absolutely. But it doesn't mean that Werder did not genuinely love them, and it doesn't mean. And as we talked about before, as I pointed out, is Ro made a choice. It's not the abuse that bothers her; it's the fact that she made a choice and she's all confused as fuck because she thought she had figured it out and that she made a choice and she was going to live her life. She is a fucking 10, maybe 11-year-old girl. Okay, so it's a little understandable. That's all I'm saying. Is Stockholm syndrome? Yes, but is it a little bit more in the Stockholm syndrome? Yes. The dragon people, did they deserve to die? Yes. Like that? No.
I mean, how else?
Not on the
how else are they gonna die? How else are they gonna die if they deserve it?
I also think about because obviously we know that 300 of them went north to fight the Shanka, so I wonder what's gonna happen when they get back. And they're like,
they're probably gonna be like, yo, what the fuck happened here?
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun. That should be a side story. That should be in Sharp Ends or something.
I just want to say before we move on here, the way that she said that the blasting powder made the earth shake with the heresy of it. You think that maybe this starts sort of like reaction, like because it's a volcano, isn't it? A big explosion in a volcano. Maybe that's gonna come back in the future, and you never know.
maybe
did something,
unsteal the
yes.
cavern, that kind of thing.
Or maybe it's
Like,
just going to do a Yellowstone and just blow up half of that continent,
maybe.
Yeah.
I personally prefer, like, if the 300 dragon people came back, right? They understood that, they renounced their ways of kidnapping kids, and they just unsealed the cavern, and they get to work on the dragon and focus on that and bring that bitch to life, and then that's it. No more kidnapping kids.
But
Renounce your ways.
how else are they going to reproduce?
They are going to die out, and they're going to accept it.
So there is a way for them to die off, Jeffrey. Gotcha, bitch.
No. But my point is, like, when you said, and if they deserve to die, but not like that. My point was like, okay, they deserve to die for the crime of kidnapping kids. How are they going to get killed by
only
child?
Who knows what everybody else is? If other people did not feel the same way.
They all pay for them. There's a waiter that lied to the council about the reason why Lamb and Shy were there.
That's true.
Get your facts right, Adeptus.
He also
in
did
your
haste
haste
to Row as well, because obviously he doesn't. He could have just handed them over, and Lamb and Shy wouldn't have been there at all.
Right? They're like, all right, we're out. So, anywho, the next morning, as again, because this is a big ass mountain, and they're taking their time to return because it's so high up, and they're walking with a bunch of heavy metals on and everything. Some men were missing, and gold and food were missing, and some people had said that they had deserted, and some said they were lured by spirits in the night, and some thought that the dragon people were following Vengeful. So while people were arguing about that, Rose looking back at Ashrank, which is smoking over the mountainside, and clutched the dragon scale that her father had given her. Not her father. I'm going to say her kidnapper had given her. And then next to her is Crying Rock, and she's standing and staring back at Ashrank too. And Dab Sweet tells Crying Rock, he goes, "Hey, it's bad luck to look too long." And Crying Rock says, "It does not feel so fine as I thought it would." And Dab says, yeah, when you spend half your life dreaming of a thing, it's coming to pass rarely measures up. So this is about Crying Rock wanting revenge on the dragon people, for doing what they do, which is, what is it, boys? What is it? It's kidnapping kids. And in the case of Beacon, from the eyes of Uto, or whatever the fuck her name was, when they killed the people in Beacon, they killed the Beacon people and took a couple of their kids. And then one kid was too old, apparently, by being 13, and they slit her neck. Fuck the dragon people. Okay? That is the official position of the Circle of the World podcast, and there will be no discussion.
Okay,
we're moving on,
let's just
Jeffrey.
move on then.
No, fuck them. All right. Basically, men keep disappearing, each morning. And they're like, oh, shit. All right. And now, apparently, we think it is the dragon people because some of the kids were smiling at each other at this point because they knew that the dragon people must be following, and the bodies left as a message to them. And so Evan gets close to her, and he says in the tongue, the language, the old empire language, I guess. He goes, "Tonight we run." I was like, whoa. And so comes nighttime. They're waiting for everybody to sleep. Finally, Dab Sweet, I guess he gets up. It's his turn to go to take watch, but he goes on the other side of camp. So then at that point, the kids run. They start to get up and they start to make their way to leave. And Ro gets up and goes to Pit, wakes him up and is like, "Come on, let's go." And Pit he sits up. He's like, "What the fuck is going on? I'm sleepy. I don't want to go away." And then she goes like, "Oh, let's go." And he goes, "No." And he yells out like, "I won't go." And he yells for Shy. And then somebody, then you hear commotion, and now Ro's like, "Fuck." And so Ro runs. She leaves Pit, and somebody, she trips, and then somebody grabs her around the knees, a big weight, and then she then is going up her body until she can't really move, right? Like someone's hugging her tight. And she's looking at Evan. She sees Evan, who's made it up some ways, and she yells out "Help me!" and he just dips.
Bitch.
And then Rose "Damn you" to this person, and it turns out it was Lamb. And Lamb says, I'm already damned, but I ain't letting you go again. And he held her so tight she could scarcely move, could scarcely breathe. So that was all. And that's the end of that chapter. Lamb
What a good father.
What a good father. What a good father. What a great person who doesn't kidnap kids. Who doesn't kidnap kids. Actually,
Jeffrey, that can't be your only metric.
He goes,
That's it.
he gets,
do you kidnap kids or do you not?
he goes to a family on a farm. He goes to a family on a farm. And
Do
he
you
looks
wear wigs? Do you wear wigs? Do you kidnap kids? No. Will you kidnap kids? No. You're a good person.
You're a good person. He goes to a farm on a family on a farm, just looking for work, ends up basically adopting those kids and getting with the mom, who's a widow. Great person, right? Great effort, great person.
Great guy.
Now, what he's done in his efforts to get those kids back after they've been kidnapped from him, I am going to clean slate. Sorry. So, anyway, boys, how do you rate that chapter? I know what I'm giving this fucking chapter.
Go on, Harrison.
Jeffrey, you're so funny this chapter. I think
a big fat fucking zero.
I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 9. And the reason why is because I really like the psychological aspect of what the kids are going through, and I think it's played out really well. And this kind of their viewpoint here is very tragic and frustrating, and it's just, I think it's done really well, but also it's pretty short. They're mostly just traveling, and it's just the character development at this point. So also, this is like, we're back to Logan being like, oh, like, I'm such a bad person. Oh my god. And it's a little melodramatic at this point, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I reckon I'll go for a 5. Just a little bit high. Like, Jeff, I know that you hate it and it makes you angry, but the fact that it makes you angry surely means that it's a good chapter, right? that's the point.
It's like Orso. It's the same thing.
It is the point of it, So yeah, it's just a fucking tragedy, isn't it? The fact is that these kids, and that is the whole point. The whole focus is that these kids have been brutally kidnapped like twice in the space of 6 months. Which is awful. Those poor kids.
Yeah, no kidding, dude. Ridiculous.
I don't know if my math is going to work out, but it's going to be fine. I'm giving it a 0 and a knuckle. Okay. The knuckle.
You got the knuckle
being the knuckle being that in the end, Ro's still going to be with Lamb and Chai. That's it. Fuck this chapter.
Fair enough.
We'll move on to our next segment, which is our best meme of the week. Georgie boy, that's a you. Take it away.
So this week we have Taco Tuesdays. This is towards the end of the memeing every chapter. We're not going to talk too much about it because it's coming up in the next few episodes, but it's it's for an upcoming chapter, and it's Mr. Temple's Wild Ride. Take a motor car to nowhere in particular. And if you know, you know, but it'll come up at some point. That's an excellent meme. It was such a good one.
Oh shit, that's a good one. I know I get the meme ready in the description and everything. I don't click it until you do the segment because I want to get my actual live reaction caught. And that's a fucking eyes. Who was that again?
That was Taco Tuesday's friend.
Taco Tuesdays. Hey man, nice to have you back in the fold as a winner. Chicken dinner, love it. Appreciate it. So thank you for that, Taco Tuesdays. We appreciate it. And so we'll move back on to the chapter read-throughs. And our next one is the tally. But before we do that, George, I know you like to do these transitions.
Okay, so it's an epigraph, isn't it? If it's in between parts, I don't know, but it's from Emerson Howe, who is quite a famous, apparently. I don't know. I've just looked him up, so
None of us know him.
Western writer. None of us know him. That's probably a bad thing. It says, each land in the world produces its own men, individually bad, and in time, other bad men who kill them for the general good.
Yeah, and I mean that's pretty straightforward, right, George? Like, bad people kill each other.
Yeah, it's almost like it's all just a bit grey.
Unless you kidnap children.
Unless you kidnap children, yes.
Kidnap children, yeah.
Yes.
Or roast people alive and do that shit,
Yep, you could do all that in the name of restoring the kids back to their families. So, and that epigraph, that basically leads us into part 5 of the book. And so with that, our first chapter of this part is the tally. And so this one is, I believe, the perspective of Temple, right? And they smelled Beacon before they saw it because they could smell cooking meat. Now, it seems that people had followed the mercenary train, the group of people, and set up like a temporary shop there. And now with the dragon people properly murdered, well, not all of them actually, they're like, hey, we're gonna restore Beacon to its former glory. We're gonna make it a beacon once again. Yay! Whatever. And but it's crazy. It's the mercenaries get to Beacon, and there's people now with stalls of like goods and even meat and stuff. And one mercenary just, instead of paying for like a shish kebab, he just snatches it. And Shai goes, "What the fuck? I mean, they're richer than Herman, who, if we remember, I think that was
nice reference to Styria.
Yeah,
everybody knows how rich she is.
Yeah. Richer than Herman, and they still rather steal." And Temple goes, "Yeah, well, doing wrong gets to be a habit." And so, boys, correct me if I'm wrong. They're still in Beacon, even though when he says the smell of profit must have drifted all the way to Crease. The reason I'm just confused is because we see Mahood here, but that's because his forge is portable. That's why. Right?
Yeah, he's brought his forge with him, and there's clearly lots of people have decided that if they go up and they come back successfully, then there's a bit of money to be made, which is fair enough. We see that a lot. You get camp followers. People just follow where the carnage is because that's where the money is.
Yeah. Okay. So Mahood is here. We don't see Kernsbeck at all in this chapter, so I'm assuming it's just. And I guess it makes sense that, yeah, so Mahood just brought the forge over. He made an addition to the sign where that long-ass shit where it's like metal, Mahood and Kernsbeck, metalwork, blah, blah, blah. He also added weapons and armor manufactured and repaired. So this makes sense. Like, the mercenaries probably did some damage, and they're probably going to need to fix their weapons or get new weapons, things like that. Okay. And before that, we see Casca. He's adding to the frivolity of it all. He gets some money and he like throws it, and he's like, "Happy birthday!"
Happy birthday to you.
It's crazy, and people like they dive for the coins and everything. A stall topples over, and so anyway,
he's going full Robin Hood. Obviously, he robbed from the cult and gave to the mercenaries.
Yep. Temple sees Mahood. And he goes, you found a new plot. And Mahood goes, yeah, a small one. Maybe you'll build me a house on it. And Temple goes, perhaps later. And shook his hand. And like that he felt nostalgia for that, for like an half honest, a honest day's work. Yeah, right. And Mahood looks at the kids. He goes, these are the kids. And Shai's like, yeah, we found them. Doesn't he like, no, not a lot of triumph there. Mahood goes, you must be Pitt. And he goes, you must be Ro. And Ro doesn't answer. And Shai goes, she is like Ro or was. And Mahood goes, and I am sure she will be again. People change.
Mahood, look at him coming around.
Yeah, and I like
asshole. Look at him, he's being so nice.
Yeah, because when it was not involving money, he's a good person. And Temple goes, are you sure people can change? And Mahood like basically puts a hand on his shoulder and goes, does not the proof stand before me?
Oh.
And Temple's here wondering if that's a joke or a compliment. And like, dude, that's totally a compliment. You know what I mean?
And then he hears Temple.
Shai goes, "Your master," and then it's Casca, and then he goes, "Ugh." And he goes over to Casca while their mercenaries just going buck wild with like.
I like how
ladies of
Temple,
the
like
night.
in his mind too, Temple's just like, oh, there's no point in fighting it. Yeah, he is my master. Oh, he just like, he's like, is there hope? No, there's not. And then
Which is
right
like,
after that,
dude.
we get one of the most like one of my favorites new I call it first law new age peasant talk, which is I'm the queen of the fucking union.
Right, that's a lady of the night. That she was like festooned with ancient gold like chains and stuff, and the mercenaries like, yeah.
She just keeps repeating it. I'm the queen of the fucking union. I love it. This just pops up like over and over again in the newer books.
Yeah, true. He gets over to where Casca is. He sees Swarbrek. Swarbrek is like, I am glad to see you well. It's like genuine like warmth between the two.
I like that. I like the fact that Swarbeck started off thinking that Temple was the worst person in the company, and now he's like the only person that he's happy to see.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my god, is he the best man in the company?
And Temple it was telling Swarbrick that there's no stories of heroism for me to tell you. And Swarbrick goes, I've given up hope of finding any. Temple says, I think I find hope to be is best abandoned early. Jesus.
Oh, that's so sad, but yeah.
Yeah. And so Casca, he has his 3 captains huddled by the wagon, right? And so he beckons Temple over. And he goes, my trusted friends, we stand upon the heady pinnacle of attainment. But speaking as one who has often done so, there is no more precarious perch, and those that lose their footing have far to fall. Success tests the friendship far more keenly than failure. We must be doubly watchful of the men and triply cautious in our dealings with all outsiders. Basically, we know what's going to happen here, folks. He's telling the captains, like, hey, we got to get all the loot from the guys and lock it up in this wagon, this fortified wagon with cannons, because we can't trust them, basically. And so Dimbik, Brachio, and Joubert are like, oh boy, yeah, we got to do it, and it's gonna suck because they're not gonna want to turn it over, but I guess it's what's the contract here? It's like a quarter share or some shit like that.
It's the rule of quarters, isn't it? One for the captain general, and then one for the 3 commanders, and then I can't remember what the other 2 do, but yeah.
One's for the men. One basically one for yourself. One's for the captain generals, or who the leadership. One's for the employer, and then one's for the company, I believe.
Yeah. And then Casca asks Friendly, "Oh, how many do we number now?" And Friendly goes 143, which is that's a
major,
significantly less than it was at the beginning.
That's a fucking Jesus Christ. And so they can afford no further desertions, so all mounts be gathered, corralled, and closely watched by trusted guards. Brachio goes, well, that's risky because there's some skittish horses there. And Casca goes, that matters not. That's horses for you. Get it done. And then he goes, Joubert, I want a dozen of your best in position to make sure our little surprise goes to plan. Temple goes, what surprise? And Casca goes, don't worry, a surprise shared is not a surprise at all. You'll prove it. Anyway, each to work. Bye. And so he goes to address the men. And before he goes to address the men, as he watches the 3 captains move off, Casca stops smiling and he narrows his eyes and he goes, I don't trust those bastards further than I could shit.
And Friendly goes, just like, this is what a greedy fuck he is.
Yeah, and Friendly goes, no. And Temple goes, yeah, no. Costco wants the 2 of them to account for the treasure, every brass bit properly tallied, noted, and stored away. And Friendly's like, counted? And he has an erection. And Friendly's like, Costco's like, absolutely. And see to it that there's food and water in the wagon and a team of horses hitched to it and at the ready. If things turn ugly here, we may require a swift exit. Oh, interesting. This is an interesting setup here. 8 horses, 4 pairs. So, we see that Casca is really just only relying on Friendly and Temple, which I guess makes sense because his previous, his history with 3 captains, not the best history, right, boys?
It's understandable that Casca is paranoid that people are gonna betray him, but he knows why people do.
It's because he sucks.
Because he sucks. And
well, it's because he's going to betray people. It's like thieves think everybody steals, right?
Yes,
because that's true. Exactly what he would do.
That's exactly what he is going to do.
I guess if we're straight, if we're honest, I think the blame truly can be laid at Monza's feet here, and here's why. Because in the beginning, when he was a captain, after what Sazin died, whatever his name was, that he was just basically fooling whoever paid them money, like, oh yeah, we're battling with each other, but that was a good gig. That's all they did, right?
Yeah.
They pretended to have battles. Then Monza betrays him. Now, from that point on, he betrays when he gets back into being the captain general. He kills the former 3 captains, right? Because they betrayed him, but you can say he betrayed them. And that probably started off like a whole fucking thing of just paranoia and constant, just maybe betraying people from then. So
he could have just not been a terrible captain general.
Well, yeah, that too. But I mean, I think the proper thing, isn't the proper thing to blame a woman? Isn't that like what we're supposed to do?
Oh, my bad, Jeffrey.
And Monza especially.
Right? That brother fucker. Somehow, so it's always her fault.
Damn snake.
It's a good one. So Casca, he moves on top of the wagon, and he moves to address the company as a whole. They dump the camp follower, the lady of the night, and get out of here, Queen of the Union, you're done. And they're chanting his name. Everyone's excited. He's like, yeah, absolutely. And Temple notes that time might have dulled some of his faculties, but his voice was unimpaired, right? Because Casca, his voice is booming. He goes, my honored companions, we have done well. Tonight we celebrate. Tonight we drink and sing and revel as befits a triumph worthy of the heroes of old. Everyone's like, yeah, woo. And then he goes, and then he asks for quiet, and he goes, before the revelry, however, I regret there must be an immediate change in mood. Each man will surrender his booty. Fuck you! All his booty. No swallow jewels, no coins up asses. No one wants to look up there. And then we had a few distinct boos there, like somebody's like, oh, I wanted someone to poke in my ass. I was like, what? So that our majestic hall may be properly valued, recorded, safely kept under triple lock in this very wagon, to be dispersed as appropriate when we have reached civilization. Now the mood is veering on ugly, but some of Joubert's men are threading through the crowd. And Casca says, we start out tomorrow morning, but tonight each man will receive 100 marks as a bonus to spend as he sees fit.
Doesn't it seem to you guys that like Joubert's men are like the most disciplined?
Well, yeah, that crazy fanatic, yeah.
Of course they are. What am I thinking?
If they're not well behaved, that dude's pushing him off a cliff. And he's like, God told me to do it. I am but his instrument. Well, Jesus, all right, yeah. And I like how he goes, look, just don't spoil our triumph with sour dissent. Remain united, and, we'll be good. Turn against each other, and failure, shame, and death will be our just desserts. I think, as ever, only of the safety of our noble brother. Oh, that dude is funny, man. He is funny. So Casca says, the sooner your booty is tallied, the sooner the fun begins. And then at that moment, we hear a voice call out, where are the rebels? Where are the rebels, Casca? And it's Inquisitor Lorson, and he makes his way, to the wagon with his practicals. And Casca goes, the rebels. Yeah. So like the weirdest thing, man. We kind of like we looked through Ash Rank all, we scoured from top to bottom. Would you say scoured Temple? And Temple goes, yep, I would say it's scoured. And then Lorson goes, but what? No sign of them? And Casca goes, yes, we were deceived. These rebels are a slippery crowd. The alliance between them and the dragon people was a ruse. Lorson is not having it. He goes, their ruse or yours? Inquisitor, you wronged me. I am as disappointed as you are. And Lorson goes, you have lined your own pockets after all. And he goes, that's mercenaries for you. He's like, whoops. But Lorson is not. He's pissed. He goes, you have made me an accomplice to robbery, murder, massacre. And he goes, I held no dagger to your neck. Superior Pike did ask for chaos after all. But Lorson goes, to a purpose. You have perpetrated mindless slaughter. Casca retorts saying, what? Mindful slaughter would surely be even worse, right? But
it's interesting that Lorson is like this now. I mean, I like that a lot, actually, how he's like, no. Like, you misunderstand. Wrong. He's like, yeah, this is wrong. He's like, everything I do has a purpose. You are just doing it because you can.
And you're doing it just for money or whatever. And it's like, dog, like we're supposed to be looking for rebels. That's what we hired you for, is rebels. Fuck this. And waited for silence because, the mercenaries were laughing a bit, but not the practicals. And then Inquisitor says, do you believe in anything? And Casca, here we go. Casca goes, not if you can help it, because belief alone is nothing to be proud of. Belief without evidence is the very hallmark of the savage. And Lorson just says, you truly are disgusting to Casca. And then Casca goes, I would be the last person to disagree, but you fail to see that you are worse. No man capable of greater evil than the one who thinks himself in the right. No purpose more evil than the higher purpose. I freely admit that I am a villain. That's why you hired me. But I am no hypocrite.
I love that Casca, the whole story, has been like, I am actually the villain of the story.
Yeah, he says he has mouths to feed. You could just go home. If you are set on doing good, make something to be proud of. Open a bakery. Fresh bread every morning. That's a noble cause. And then Lorson goes, there's nothing in you that separates man from animal. You are bereft of conscience, an utter absence of morality. You have no principle beyond the selfish. And Casca, it says his face hardens as he leans forward. But he goes, perhaps when you have faced as many disappointments and suffered as many betrayals as I, you will see it. There is no principle beyond the selfish, and men are animals. Conscience is a burden we choose to bear. Morality is the lie we tell ourselves to make its bearing easier. There have been many times in my life where I wish it was not so, but it is so. This man, which we could talk about at the end of this chapter, but Lorson is, this man is nihilistic like crazy. And Lorson goes, there will be a price for this. He goes, yes, that's right. I'm counting on it because Superior Pike promised me 50,000 marks. And Lorson's like, you idiot, for the capture of the rebel leader Conthus Conscience. And, and he goes, Casca goes, absolutely. And there he is. And then we hear swords being drawn, clicking of triggers, rattling of armor as a dozen of Joubert's men stepped forward and circled Lamb, Sweet, Shy, and Savian, and Mahood is like, "What the fuck?" Mahood, he brings the kids close to him, like, "What the fuck?" And then Casca goes, "Master Savian, I deeply regret that I must ask you to lay down your weapons, any and all, if you please." No motion. Savian reaches up, does the buckle on the strap of his chest, for the flat bow and the bolts. They clatter to the mud, and Lamb is watching him do it and just calmly eating into like a leg of chicken. And
he does a lot of eating in this story.
Yeah, and Temple like, oh, that's the easy way, and he knows it's always the easy way, but he goes, fuck it. He gets up onto the wagon and he whispers in Casca's ear. He's like, you don't have to do this. And Casca goes, have to? No. And Temple's like begging. He's like, please, how does it help you? And Casca goes, help me? It helps me not at all. That is the very essence of selflessness and charity. Casca goes, aren't you not always telling me to do the right thing? Did we not sign a contract? Did we not accept Inquisitor Lorson's noble cause as our own? Did we not lead him up a merry chase down this forsaken gulf of distance? Be quiet. He tells people to be quiet, He never thought to say this, but Temple is impeding his moral growth. What the fuck? And then he asks Savian, goes, would you be kind enough to roll up your sleeves, Master Savian? And Savian goes, all right. And he basically just takes the button of his collar and he undoes that. Then the next button. And, while he's doing that, everyone's like on edge. And then Temple noticed Hedges is watching too. And with like a smile of feverish delight on his face for some reason. And so Savian shrugs the shirt off and stood stripped to the waist, and his whole body, from his pale neck to his pale hands, was covered in writing.
Wait a minute. Do you mean this is Fenris the Feared?
Fenris the Feared, right? Dozen languages, death to the Union, death to the King. The only good Midderlander is a dead one.
Which is an interesting phrase to use in the context of a Western.
Yeah. Never kneel, never surrender, no mercy, no peace, freedom, justice, blood. He was blue with them. And then Costco goes, I only asked for the sleeves, but I feel that the point is made. And I like how Savian kind of smiles and he goes, what if I said I'm not Conthus?
I love that. I love that for so many reasons, actually. It's the most Savian humor, but also like, so that's great. I love it.
Yeah.
I also love this moment for the fact that because of Costco and Savian's conversation in the last chapter, where it's like, oh, did you find your boy then? He's like, no. I was like, oh yeah, did you not?
Are you gonna keep looking for him? Nah. Told myself I wouldn't go any further. Nah. Completely understandable. I get you. Totally reasonable for a father to just quit.
Oh shit.
And then Costco goes, I doubt we would believe you. And he looks at Lorson, and who's staring at Savian like a hungry dog. And he goes, you know what? Yeah, I very much doubt we would believe you. And he looks at Dab Sweet. He goes, do you have any objections? And Dab Sweet, he looks at all the swords. He goes, not me. I'm as shocked as anybody at this surprising turn of events. And then Costco tells Sweet, he goes, you must be quite discomfited to learn you've been traveling with a mass murderer all this time. And then he smiles. He goes, actually, well, two, in fact. Hey, Master Lamb. And Lamb's just still eating at his chicken. Anything say on your behalf of your friend? And Lamb goes, most of my friends I've killed. I came for the children. The rest is mud. And that's it. It's like, that's a cold world, fam. It's a cold world. And Costco goes, Savian, I have stood where you stand and entirely sympathize. We are all alone in the end. And Savian just says, it's a hard fucking world. And so Lorson, he's like, seize him. All Disney villain, like, seize that man. And the practicals, they go forward, and it looked like to Temple that Shy's hand was moving towards her knife, but Lamb held her arm with the hand that wasn't, greased up with the chicken. And eyes on the ground as the practicals march Savian towards the fort. And I guess this is that one building that is a fort. Remember that it was like a ramshackle kind of fort?
Yes.
And Lorson follows them inside, smiling grimly into the camp, and slams the door with a heavy bang. And then Costco goes, not even so much as a thank you. Doing right is a dead-end Temple. Cue up, my boys. It's time for the accounting. And Temple stares at Shy. She stares back, but what could either of them do? And Costco's yelling out, we need sacks and boxes, blah, blah, blah. And then Swarbrick, he tells Swarbrick to fetch a pen and ink in a ledger. Not the writing you came to do, but no less honorable a task. And Swarbrick is like deeply honored, and he's like about to be sick because, he just gave up this guy Savian, like, who traveled with him all this way. And Dab Sweet is, he says, look, we best be heading out, get the children back to Crease. And Casca goes, of course. You will be sorely missed. Without your skills, let alone the fearsome talents of Master Lamb, the task would have been impossible. The tall tales don't exaggerate in your cases, huh, Swarbrick? And Swarbrick goes, they are legends made flesh. And then Casca goes, we will have to give you a chapter, perhaps two. The very best of luck to you and your companions. I will recommend you wherever I go. And he turns away like as if that's it. But Sweet looks at Temple, and Temple just shrugs. And Dab goes, wait a minute, hold on. There's just a matter of our share of the proceeds. As I recall, we discussed the 20th. Now, here is where you hate somebody's timing. Because at this point, guess who pops his fucking face in?
What about my share?
What about my share? Gregor Cantless elbowed his way. It was me told you there'll be rebels up there. Me who found those bastards out. Casca goes, oh, that's right. So you did. You are a veritable child-stealing prophet, and we owe you all our success. And his eyes lit up with greed. So what am I do? And at that moment, Friendly steps up from behind, slipped a noose over his head, and Joubert on the other end of it hauled with all of his weight on the rope and had been looped over a beam projecting from a side of a broken tower. And now Cantless is hoisted off his feet and pawing at the noose, and this man is just being hanged. And Casca goes, paid in full. And a couple of people laugh. Somebody threw an apple core and missed. Temple's saying like, oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Because, somebody's being hanged right in front of him, which is like a terrible sight to see. Shy spits through the gap in her teeth and she turns away because fuck that. Fuck Cantless. He's the one that took her kids. Her brothers and sisters. Brother and sister. Lamb is just watching until Cantless stopped twisting. And then he just frowned towards the door where Savvy had been taken and then flicked his chicken bone into the mud. And the Friendly says 17 times. Casca goes, 17 times. What? He goes, 17 times he kicked, not counting that last one.
Joubert's like, that last one was more of a twitch.
God told me.
Is that a lot? He's like, is that a lot?
And Friendly goes,
I love how Joe, there's these horrible moments, but he still manages to make you laugh.
It's true. He's so good at inserting like this human like reaction of being like, oh,
Yeah, and then Casca looks down at Dab Sweet, and he goes, you were saying something about a share, I think? And Dab Sweet is watching Cantless swing, and he goes, I must have misremembered. I reckon I'll just be heading back on to Crease if that's all the same with you. And Casca goes, as you wish. Happy journey. And that's the end of that chapter. Oh, boys. How do you rate it? We got something to talk about.
You want to go first then, Jeff?
Oh, well, I don't have a number in my head yet. But I guess we can talk about Savian. Fuck. Our boy Contus. Yeah. Savian. Contus. Conscience.
We knew this was going to happen because we saw Hedges' perspective.
Yeah.
In one of the little people chapters, he's like, "Oh, I'm sure
that piece of shit."
And then he goes to talk with Casca, and then it's like, "Yeah, it's inevitable." So it's no surprise.
I mean, fuck Hedges, man. That cocksucker. That dude. Fuck him. I mean, we knew he was not a good guy from when we saw him trying to rob that Northman back in the Heroes. Yeah. But fuck. And then you would think after like Chai being kind to him, giving him some pie, giving him some money, like he'd be a little bit more grateful. But no, it's never his fault for the situation he's in.
Yeah.
I mean, poor Corlin. She's back in Crease, we think, whatever, and she's gonna be like, well, Savian's gone now. Then we have Casca just being. You see the nihilism really coursing through him right now. And it's always about like, I've been betrayed, I've been disappointed, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, it's because you suck. Like your highlight of your life so far has been sticking with Monza in Best of Cold.
Yeah.
Right? Helping her in her revenge. But you make the same mistakes. You're an alcoholic, you spend all your money, and you blame everybody but yourself. Like, dude, you suck.
He sucks major balls.
He sucks major. Like, we love him because he's so like he's funny, he's charismatic. But fuck, dude, he sucks. He just sucks. So, this was a great chapter. Much better than the one about like, oh, kidnapped kids belong with the kidnapped family. So I'll give this one.
I'm kidding, Jeffrey. We're moving on.
Right. That's right. You know the official position of this podcast. So it's 7 out of 9 fingers. I'll give it. Boys, you?
I'm just gonna go for a 5. I reckon. I like the chapter, but again, like all of this is inevitable. We know that the money was going to get divvied up. We know that Savian was a rebel. We know that it's sort of just like a combination of a few things happening. But overall, I don't rate it that highly, so I reckon a 5.
Harrison?
I think I'll give this one also a 4 out of 9. I kind of the same reasons. Like it's inevitable. Like it has. It's one of those chapters that has to happen. But like, there's nothing of real substance here other than kind of going through the motions for all the characters. Other than Logan being so cold about it. But Logan's cold as fuck, especially nowadays. So I would say 4 out of 9 for me as well.
Interesting. You guys gave it pretty low chapters. I mean, Cantless dies. Dab Sweet gets fucked over. Savian gets discovered.
Dab Sweet deserves to get fucked over. Fuck him.
Sir, you will change that tone when we get to the next chapter. But but I think I like this chapter. I like it a lot, and I know it's inevitable, sure, but it the rug pull from everybody else's feet is fun to like.
It is good how Costco, despite being such a horrible villain, he does his job very well. He knows exactly how to manipulate people. Like the way that he gives the mercenaries, the whole crowd, he gives them the news sandwich, doesn't he? There's good news, there's bad news, and then a little bit of good news at the end so that it's not so bad. Like he knows exactly how to manipulate a crowd and manipulate Lawson and manipulate his captains, manipulate Temple, manipulate everyone pretty much.
Yeah, I do really like it because like we see Casca just really being honest for once and stop like not dropping the the charisma. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you just like you really do see him in all his worst right here, and then we see Lawson actually being a voice of reason and morality, which is crazy.
I mean, we've always said that about Lawson, even when we met him and he was running the concentration camp. This guy's actually a bit principled, Even though
you're right.
I mean, he actually may be. I mean, saying this for real, he may be the best man in the company.
He might be.
He was my pick always.
He was your pick always. All right. So we'll move on to our next segment, which is our character spot. Boys, who else can we spotlight, right? Who else? Of course, but
gotta be Gregor Countless,
fuck off, he died. All right, done segment over.
Yeah, nobody deserves it more.
No.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Fuck you, Gregor. Because like when people talk about a serial killer, you say, yep, they existed, bye.
We're glad to have hardly known ye. Fuck him. All right. We'll move right on to our next and final chapter read through, which is Going Back. And this is the perspective of Shy. And we start off with Sweet fucking pissed. That fucking old shit fucker. Prickomo fucking
Costco. I love the nameplate that he always does in these. They're great. It's awesome.
Prickomo. That bastard old arsehole fucker. And Shy goes, you said that one already. And Crying Rock goes, he said old arsehole bastard fucker. My bad. That's a totally different thing. And he goes, are you fucking disagreeing? And she goes, no, he's a hell of a fucker. And he's just like, shit, fuck. I'll get even with that fucker. And because they're riding, they're on the horses, and Mahoo's on the wagon. They have the kids. They're on their way to Crease already. They're out of Beacon. And Lamb goes, let it be. Some things you can't change. You got to be realistic. And and Sweet goes, that was my retirement that got stole there. And we know he's been like trying to save up for retirement. We know that, right?
That's like his thing.
It is like his thing. And he goes, well, you're still breathing, aren't you? And he goes, easy for you to say. You didn't lose a fortune. Lamb looks at him and goes, I've lost plenty. And Sweet's like quiet, and he goes, fuck. Oh, God. And then Shy's looking at the wagon at Pitt and Ro. They're sleeping. And she says, like, I guess we did it, And Lamb's like, yeah, I guess so. But it's like they're not celebrating. It's weird. They don't look happy, Lamb and Shy. And finally, she goes, after some time, she goes, they're gonna be cutting into him, right? Asking questions. He goes, yeah, Lamb goes, that's a fact. And she goes, ain't a pretty fact. And he goes, yeah, facts don't tend to be. She goes, he saved me. Yeah. He saved you. True. We're really going to fucking leave him then? And Lamb's face is twitching again with like jaw muscles working. And, as they're riding. And then Lamb's horse slows to a walk. And then it stops. And Mahout looks at him. He's like, are we halting? Like, what are we doing? And Lamb says, you told me you'd be my friend for life. And Mahout's like, yeah, and I meant it. Uh-huh. And he goes, all right, then keep on. Got a good road here and good moon to steer by. Keep on all night, quick and steady. You probably make crease by dark tomorrow. And Mahout's like, well, why the rush? Lamb takes a long breath, looks at the sky, breathes out like cold smoke, like with the night air. And he says, there's going to be trouble. And Shai goes, oh, I know. And Shai goes, are we going back? And he goes, nope, you're not. But I am. And she goes, what do you mean? And he goes, well, you're taking the children. I'm going back. And Shai goes, oh, you always were, weren't you? And he nods and he goes, yep, just wanted to get us far. Shai goes, yeah, you just wanted to get us far away. He goes, yep, I only had a few friends. I've done right by even fewer. Can count them on one hand. Even this one with the missing finger. This is how it has to be. And Shai goes, ain't nothing has to be. I ain't letting you go alone. And he goes, yes, you are. Do you know what I felt when we came over that hill and saw the farm all burned out? The first thing I felt before the sorrow and the fear and the anger caught up? Joy. Joy and relief. Because I knew right off what I'd have to do, what I'd have to be. Knew right off I could put an end of 10 years of lying. A man's got to be what he is, Shai. I don't feel evil, but the things I done, what else can you call them? Which is like, Christ.
Oh, I know. It's like, whoa.
I remember when we first started talking about this podcast, and this is one of the first things that comes up.
Yeah.
When all those years ago, when we started talking about it, like, this is one of the best character moments I've ever seen in fiction.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it's incredible.
For real. Oh, my Lord. And then she goes, you're not evil, you're just, and she doesn't finish it. And he goes, if it hadn't been for Savian, I'd have killed you in them caves, you and Ro. And Shai knew that, but she goes, look, if it hadn't been for you, we'd never got the children back. And he
I want to say as well, do you think Savian's the only person that's ever tangled with a bloody nine and lived?
I might be, but here's the thing. I think so. Well, no. Remember Dogman?
Maybe Pharaoh.
Dogman's definitely been there.
He's up there with all those good people.
He is. So. But then we also have to count Friendly and Dab Sweet, remember? Because those two, they were also helping Savian.
Yeah.
Friendly was on his neck, Dab Sweet was on one arm, Savian was on the other arm.
Yeah. But man, his monologue is so good. It encapsulates Logan so well. It's just, it's also so like,
and it's
her reaction to it too is like, no, you're not. Like, it's like the fan base. It's like, I feel like people read the first books and and Joe was like, no, you guys don't quite get it. I don't think.
No, but Shai, she's struggling, right? Shai is us. We love him, but we're like, fuck, you're a monster. And
yes.
And when she says we got the children back, he looks at him, and obviously they're both very changed. And he goes, "Did we get him back? Sometimes I think we just lost us too." And then Shai goes, "I'm who I was." And Lamb, he goes, "Yeah, you are maybe, but I don't reckon there's any going back for me." And he leans from his saddle, he hugs her tight, and he goes, "I love you, and I love them, but my love ain't a weight anyone should have to carry. Best of luck, the very best." And he turns around and he turns to go with his horse. And she calls after him and she goes, "What the hell happened to being realistic?" And he says, he stopped real quick, but he goes, "Always sounded like a good idea, but being honest, it never worked for me." And so she turns her back, and she, because he rides on, and she turns her back, and they all start riding too at a slow pace, because they're on a trot or whatever. Or maybe not. Maybe they're moving a little quick.
This is one of the only times in the whole series that somebody says "I love you."
Really?
Yes. Think about it. When else does people say that? They never say it.
Doesn't Giselle
Giselle says
Artie?
it to Artie, sure, but he says it I love you, like Prince Charles or some shit, you know.
Right. Or remember the first time he's like, his head's in his hands. He's like, I think I love you. I remember that.
Exactly. It's not the same.
What about does West ever tell Artie he loves her?
No, he only ever says he's sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, this is like the only time that it's so real. Like it feels like what I'm trying to say is, I love you is overused in a lot of stuff, right? It's not overused here. This is one of the few times where it really feels, good. It feels really good to hear. It feels earned, and man, I love it. I love it so much. It's like
it's so good. It's so good. And you know what? And Shy is like, she feels empty, and she's thinking about what Lamb had said to her. She's thinking about what she said to Savian. Remember back on the mountain?
Yeah.
Thinking about all the long miles they've all covered these last few months. Few months, not a long time. Don't give me
okay.
And the dangers they face to get this far, and not knowing what she could do. That was how it had to be. Except when people told Shy how things had to be, she started thinking about how to make them otherwise. And the wagon hit like a bump, and Pitt jolted, he woke up, and he sat up and he looked around. He's like, "Where's Lamb?" And at that moment, Shy's hand, she kind of like gets slack on the reins. The horse stops, and she's just sitting there. And Mahood looks over and he goes, "Lamb said to keep on." And then Shy goes, "What? You got to do what he tells you. He ain't your father, is he?" And then Mahood says, "I guess not." And then Shy goes, "He's mine." This is the first time she admits it. And there it was. Maybe he wasn't the father she'd want, but he was still the only one she'd got, the only one all three of them had got. She had enough regrets to live with. And so she goes, "I've got to go back." And then Sweet is like, "Madness! This is bloody madness!" And then she goes, "Yeah, of course it is. And you're coming with me." And it's just quiet. And he goes, "There's like more than 100 mercenaries up there, killers, every one of them." And Shy goes, "The Dab Sweet I heard stories of wouldn't be scared of a few mercenaries." And Dab goes, "I don't know if you've noticed, but the Dab Sweet you heard stories of ain't much like the one wearing my coat." And she goes up to him. She goes, "I heard you used to be. I heard you used to be quite a man." And Crying Rock nods, and she goes, "That's true." And Sweet, he frowns at her, and he frowns at Shy, and he's looking at the ground, and he's just like, "I used to be. You're young and got dreams ahead of you still. You don't know how it is. One day you're something so promising and full of dares, so big the world's too small a place to hold you. Then before you know it, you're old, and you realize all those things you had in mind you'll never get to. All those doors you felt too big to fit through have already shut. Only one left open, and it leads to nothing but nothing. You lose your nerve, and once it's gone, where do you find it? I got scared, Shy South, and once you get scared, there ain't no going back. There just ain't no." And then Shy grabs him right by the coat, and she drags him close. She's like, "I ain't giving up this way. I just ain't fucking having it. Now I need that bastard who killed the red bear with his hands up at the source of the Suckwaya, whether it bloody well happened or not. You hear me, you old shit?" And he blinks at her and he goes, "I hear you." And he goes, "Well, do you want to get even with Koska, or do you just want to swear about it?" And then Crying Rock gets close and she goes, "Maybe do it for Leaf and those others buried on the plains." And Shy doesn't realize, Shy doesn't know what this means, but Sweet stares at her for a long moment with the strangest haunted look in his eye. And then his mouth twitched into a smile, and it says, "How come after all this time you're still so damn beautiful?"
Damn, bro. Why are they doing this to us?
Yo, it's making me fucking, oh my Lord.
I'm being emotional.
And then she just shrugs like facts were facts, and she just puts her pipe between her teeth. Oh my Lord, I'm about to tear up. And then Sweet, he goes, "All right, if I get killed, I'm gonna haunt your skinny ass for life." And then she goes, "Look, if you get killed, I doubt my life will be too long a stretch." And then she says that she's got to take care of something. So she goes to the kids. She says she's got to take care of something. And she looks at Mahood. Well, no, she doesn't look at Mahood. Sorry. She tells him to go on with Mahood. He's a little bit on the stingy side, but he's one of the good ones. And Pitt asks, like, where are you going? And she's like, I left something behind. Will you be long? And he goes, not long. I'm sorry, Ro. I'm sorry for everything. And Ro said, so am I. Which is like, all right, finally, this bitch is coming to her sentence.
Oh my god.
Leave the kid alone.
Fuck her. Just because of how good this chapter is, I'm gonna let it slide. I'll allow it. Anyway, she goes, I'll see you two increase. You'll hardly notice I'm gone. And Rose sniffed sleepy and sullen and wouldn't meet her eye. And and Pitt obviously just stared at her, and she wondered if she really would see them increase. It's madness, like Sweet said, but there's no point to long goodbyes. Sometimes it's better to do a thing than live with the fear of it. That's what Lamb used to say. So she tells Mahood to go, and then the wagon's rolling on now and it's moving quick, and she whispers at the night sky, better to do it. And that's the end of that chapter. Boys,
damn.
How do you rate
Damn.
it?
It's up there. It's definitely up there. I reckon.
I cry
reckon
every
8.
time on this one.
Every time.
Every fucking time.
There's so much redemption in this chapter. Never mind Lau. I'm talking about Damn Sweet.
Yeah, that's right.
Lamb doesn't get redemption. He's right about that.
There's a reason why I've been like giving him such a hard time over these last episodes, and that's because at this moment you're like, oh damn, maybe he does.
Yeah.
Good.
Because and if you remember like when that happened, right? And Leaf dies and people died, he was like fucking furious because he was like, "This was not what the fuck," you know. And you know, obviously, you know,
only once he failed on the plane.
Yeah. So when Crying Rock says it, and Crying Rock over here is nodding like, "Yeah, you used to be a great man, and do it for Leaf, do it for them." And he's like, "Fuck, you're so beautiful." And it's like, "Oh my god." I'm giving this fuck. I'm vacillating between an 8 and knuckle and a 9. Fuck it, I'm doing a 9 out of 9. Fuck it.
Yay!
Yeah, I reckon the line when Logan admits to himself and he admits to Shy that, you know, this whole thing that's happened, it's like the best thing. It's all he wanted, really. It's some excitement in his life. And he actually admits it to somebody else and he doesn't make excuses.
Yeah.
I think that's probably pushes it up from an 8 to a 9.
Yeah, for me, it's a 9 as well. I cry every time. The first time I read this is like him saying that to her, and like Pacey's voice acting here is so on point. It's incredible. And you know, Shy's all choked up, and you know, she like everybody, like you said, there's so much redemption, there's so much catharsis in this chapter that you don't get in hardly any of the other books, you know, and it's so pleasant and sweet, and it's amazing because even Ro is like, damn, this is kind of emotional for me too, and even Ro's like, all right, my bad, I may have been a bitch. and Ro and not Ro and Pitt's the only reason that Ro even stayed, because he screamed like, no, yeah. And you know, I know he doesn't hardly get any screen time, but Pitt is the GOAT. He's the GOAT, man. He's like so like genuine. He's such a sweet kid, and oh man, and to have this moment where Logan is honest, but also like he's like, not only is he's like the audience, like he's like, listen, this is the good stuff. Like, I understand what you know, I understand your value and I love you, but also I'm a bad man, and also I owe Savian, and this is what I have to do because I'm a man of violence. And for Shy to be like, yes, I know, and I love you too, basically, and just to be like, but I'm gonna go with you because of the same reson, but not because
dad.
Yes. And not because she's addicted to violence, but whenever she's like, I'm gonna go with you, you know, like in her mind, because of that. Like,
it's because it's the right thing to do. She's tired of like regretting, you know, leaving behind. You know, remember she said some things to Savian like, "Yo, I owe you so much too for coming our way, and I got you in trouble." And like, not got you in trouble, but because I said you were looking for your kid, now you gotta act like, oh my god, I have a kid, you know, whatever. So
it's the first time that she's putting aside the kids as well, like not in like a negative way, but like the first time she's like, okay, the kids are okay, now it's time to do the right thing. And she's not, it's like it's about doing the right thing, you know. And
And, her admitting, like, because remember, she used to call Lamb a coward all the time, leading up to this. Obviously, over time, she started seeing, like, this guy crazy. but called him a coward. Always, and would say, like, he's not my father, right? He's not my father. He's not my father. And here she's like, he's my father. And it's like, oh.
You're like,
God damn. Damn sweet Mahood being like, I am your friend for life. I will take care of these kids. This is a fucking love this chapter all around, dog. We hope you enjoyed that chapter too, folks. We hope you enjoyed it.
Man,
any comments about this? Please hit us up. Let us know what you think. Wow. Oof. Well, that's our show, everyone. We want to thank you all for listening and supporting this podcast. As you know, this is a passion project for the three of us, and your support really does mean a lot.
Join us next week as we cover answered prayers and sharp ends.
And make sure you follow us on all of our social media or shoot us an email at circleoftheworldpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts from. And please make sure to rate and review us. Thank you all again for listening.
Better to do it.